Welcome, excuse me, welcome traders. That was a smooth start. It is Sunday, the 12th of February. Don't forget, we've got this weekend, obviously Valentine's Day on Tuesday. So if you care about that kind of thing, which everybody should always, I suppose, care about treating someone special to something, then go for it. So just giving you a reminder about that. Okay, so let's move on and have a look at the economic calendar for this week. Yes, I think on Tuesday, so, Monday will be just one of those days. It'll be either move a lot or go into a bit of a coma. Tuesday, there'll be some sort of increase of movements around the US dollar news, which comes out 1:30 p.m. UK time, and then sort of a little bit of tail end of stuff on Wednesday and Thursday around similar US data, meaning just data where the markets are still hypersensitive to threat of recession and inflation, even though it currently does appear as though the markets are outperforming expectations. And so moving across and having a look at the charts. So what have we got? A little bit of just the VIX. As I said before, I'm not really concerned about it until it starts heading up towards 35 or 40, and we're not there yet. So not expecting anything major at this point in time. Looking here at the dollar index, that looks like a really nice bullish continuation candle. The previous one relatively bullish as well. So to me, this is, signaling an intent to go push up a little bit further, possibly up towards 105. So there is some resistance in this area. It could fail, but that is kind of what it looks like it wants to do. So if I have a look at euro dollar, I'm going to keep this recording as quick as possible because I'm on holiday and I'm providing it for you guys, but I also am on holiday, and so I don't want to go kind of overboard on it. So just to kind of carry on with this is euro dollar. To me looks like that has that potential to head lower. Could go down to 105 potentially, so I'm just going to be prepared for it. You'll notice it is in an area where potentially it's found support, but I think it's broken through that. It's likely to head lower. Sterling as well, possibility. Just interesting to me whether that's a continuation to the downside. So I'm just going to mark that to see how it goes. But certainly, I think it's fair to expect it to touch down at 1.2, possibly as far down as say 1.19. The Aussie dollar still relatively strong, but you could see the rejection in this area, and it's potentially want to head lower. So you've got that contradiction between the weekly, which looks really nice and bullish and very keen to go, and also that monthly, which is in a downtrend, which looks bearish. That could be a continuation south. So we have conflicting stories here. Okay, the monthly, daily look bearish, the weeklies look bullish, and this happens. We get these forks in the road. We need to see which one is ultimately going to play out, or how it's going to play out. So this week I'm leaning towards it potentially that dollar strengthening, and therefore the majors continuing to weaken, so that would expect to see those to head low. Dollar yen as well looks quite bullish. It's broken above through this level of resistance. It's trying to find support here, and it's trying to continue up and push up towards say 133, 134. Dollar Swiss here, I'm just going to skip today because it also is leaning bullish as well, but this is just very choppy. Dollar CAD, interesting to me because dollar CAD, although although it has sort of found some resistance in this area, it does appear to be relatively bearish, and especially when I look at the CAD pairs, Euro CAD, GBP CAD, Aussie CAD, so on, they all look very bearish. They seem to be, or appear to be, signaling an intent to continue lower this week. And in fact, in terms of FX, the most attractive charts I've seen are the CAD pairs. CAD yen to the upside, all the other ones, Euro CAD, Aussie CAD to the downside, they all look quite good. Okay, so let's move on to gold. I'm going to skip the Russian ruble and Euro Swiss for today, not too important. We've got a similar setup here. So when you kind of look at gold, it's very similar to what we just looked at on Euro dollar. We're at a good point for it to find some support where it is and head up a little bit higher. However, I'm still kind of leaning towards it potentially having a correction a little bit further down towards 1800 or possibly down towards 1730. If, however, we break this previous high, so Thursday's high, which puts us at 1890. If we break above that, then I think it's going to attempt to work its way back up to these old highs here. So let's see how that goes. But I'm not, right now I'm leaning more bearish than bullish, especially here. Look at silver's had a decent correction, really good, back down to that $22 level. Yes, it could go further down, and obviously if we get that stronger dollar, that's likely to be the case. But for now, actually, this is at a better area to find support, I think, than gold. But if gold continues down, we'll see silver head down to those lower levels. Copper also, to me, this looks way more bearish, and I would expect this to head down towards these previous highs over here before potentially finding support. Then moving on to natural gas, it's just continuing to tick lower. It is definitely trying to turn around. Clear bullish divergence. Price action is trying to change that bearish momentum and potentially go into a bit of an accumulation phase over here, which means either sideways or potentially a change in trend. And then crude oil. Crude oil came back down to the bottom of this sort of range-bound behavior. So it was in a bit of a bull channel. It's kind of started to go sideways. So it's not really as strong necessarily as I was expecting it to be. But it does look as though it wants to try to work its way back up to the top of this channel. And until it breaks to the outside above that, now I shift from more bullish to more neutral. If there's strong rejections here, it could find itself heading back down towards those lows. So I'd like to see it break to the upside. Excuse me. Brent looking a little bit more bullish. And so I want to see how it performs in this area. This, you can see a little bit more of that sort of bull channel to the upside there. Wheat, nice and bullish. So there we go. We've had that shift. Look at that, really nice. We spoke about this double bottom that then became a triple bottom that now produced a higher low that's really nice and bullish. That really nice clean pullback into this area and it's pushed back up. So that I expect to continue to the upside. There'll be some retracements intraday, but then expecting that to maintain that bullish momentum. Coffee is in this area. This is a really good area. I would like to see it if it is ultimately turning around, because that January was a really bullish candle. If it's going to continue with that momentum, this is a great location for it to do it. So that's what I'll be looking out for this week. Sugar pulled right back into the sweet spot and has pushed back up to those highs. So let's see how that does. But that looks good to keep going. Cotton is still within this bullish build-up pattern, looking towards that. So any really nice solid candles that start to close up near the highs in this area without much wick on top could be hinting at an imminent outbreak or breakout to the upside. Interesting to see that happen. And any other moves where the market just breaks through this kind of sort of line in the sand, then obviously that bearish momentum is then it's ultimately not going to break out to that. Just again, sorry to keep doing this, but yeah, I'm looking. So far this looks good. The momentum has remained bullish. We'll see how that goes. Okay, moving on to the global indices. To me, I still lean bullish on these, so it's interesting to see what that dollar is going to do. Could this be one of those weeks where the dollar moves and it moves the currencies but doesn't necessarily impact equities? Yeah, that's a possibility. I am leaning bullish on these, but they're really showing a lot of indecision. So they're definitely in a bit of a coma, especially if we look at, say, some of the others. S&P's had a really nice pullback into the sweet spot. There it is. And with a little bit of a bullish candle. So let's see if it could take another run and break through that level, or if it's going to take a bit of a bigger hit. Nasdaq here can come down a little bit further. I'd like to see this, but definitely now I'm in an area where I'm looking for this to try to take another run back up to the upside. The same here for the mini Russell. These are all really nice sweet spots that I've been doing on my intraday or my daily commentary videos for my guys, just highlighting these spots ahead of time. They're there. So interesting then, moving to the FTSE, which has been quite bullish of late. There's now bearish divergence. It's definitely struggling with some of these areas. So this is kind of where I want to see what happens in this area, whether we have a deeper correction. And that is something that could absolutely happen. But overall, they have been incredibly bullish. This is both the FTSE and the German DAX. And again, here as well, there's that bearish divergence. We've got a series of higher highs here. They're all lower highs here. And that weekly candle doesn't look super strong. So there could be a deeper correction with these two markets over here. Seeing those come back down a little bit before they can recover. And I'm just going to expand this out. But yes, looking for that S&P, the ASX, to pull back into this area to find some support. So that could also have a bit of a correction. So it's going to be interesting to me, because now it appears as though we've got the US indices on one sort of journey, which isn't the same as, say, the ASX or the UK or the DAX. And so they could be kind of doing a separate thing. And that, by the way, to me is a sign of strong economies. If they're not all kind of looking at each other, they're doing their own thing, they're pretty confident. That's a good sign. Almost missed the Nikkei there. Nikkei is creeping its way up to the top. Not looking so bad. Okay, let's look at Apple. So Apple, again, pulling back into this area, looking for that. That could be a potential move. So I'm just going to mark that one there. That could be the candle. Excuse me, could see that be the trigger that gets it going to the upside there. Amazon has pulled back into, why did I highlight that area? It must have been a weekly one. But yeah, this area, there was that bullish candle there as well, which hasn't really gone anywhere. But yeah, looking for a pullback in this area to keep going, if that's what it's ultimately going to do. We've got AT&T, which is trying here to be nice and bullish. You can see it's really trying to hold up to that. And if it is able to do that with these little bullish candles here, let's see if it can hold support and go from there. But you can see that spike in data just kind of threw it for a 6. It's not really sure what it has to do now. And here we go, looking for a similar thing here with Cathie Wood's ARC. That is not a great sign. That's a bearish continuation candle here that looks as though it wants to go back down towards those lows. Interesting. that I'm curious to see. And here again, you can see Glencore here in the UK. This one, big bearish gap down, quite sort of very aggressive move, but hasn't broken these previous higher lows. So let's see if it can find some support in this area. Hold Tesco, and again, I was just saying that obviously makes sense because we can see the FTSE looking a little bit weak there. Tesco here really struggling with this area, but now finally doing a bit of a weekly retracement back into these old highs. We've got Amex. I'm waiting for that to do a pullback. Look how it's already broken through and is very keen to go on this one. However, it's overextended. It really does need to come back down into this area. So I'm cautious about that. Berkshire Hathaway. Lots of nice little bullish signals here. It's desperate to break out of this. This is a bullish consolidation to me. I want to see this break out to that upside. And let's see how it does. So that's waiting. We've got Coca-Cola, which is trying to stay above this level of support. That to me is fascinating. I was just highlighting some of these bullish candles, but it's just sitting above this. It is in a downtrend. I want to see if it can stay above it this week. If it can, if there's a really nice bullish candle here that closes higher than these, that would then be, to me, an attempt to go higher. BP on fire, but already starting to lose steam. You can see how each of these candles gets progressively smaller. That's a really big candle, a lot of big moves. I want to see this have a bit of a correction here. So I'd be looking for this to pull back into, well, either back down to this level, but somewhere in this area would be great to see it kind of pull back into the moving averages, or, down to 38 to around a nice round number, or potentially a fib level, or back into this would be great to test that level for support. Exxon as well. Excuse me, no doubt taking off there, nice and bullish, no problems there. Good, could be some good day trading opportunities on this. General Motors, already trying to breach this level. So this one I want to leave a bit, but it's still looking predominantly bullish there. It doesn't want to go away. It doesn't want to quit. JP Morgan Chase, nice little bullish signal there. That looks good. Let's see how that goes. What is happening? Oh, because you know what I forgot to show you. I've also added in the windows, the indices. Here they are. Where are they? Where list? No, here we go. Oh, I've got calculator instruments. So I've created a couple here. I've got a CAD index, Aussie index, pound index, Euro, USD. From next week, or when I have more time, I will go back and I will introduce these. So I'll start doing the dollar index and then go through these as an added kind of benefit, just to see if they shine any light on a few of these other things. So JP Morgan, what was the story there? Nice little bullish continuation set up there. Let's see, Adidas gapping down. So that's a weekly retracement back down to these highs. And also a bit of a bearish candle there. So this is a tricky spot for Adidas. Is it going to resume its downtrend there? I think that's a possibility if it breaks the low of last week's low, if it does that. But if it starts building up bullish candles from here, it's going to produce a nice bullish candle. It could have stabilized and trying to then go back into that uptrend. So Meta, nice little pullback into this area before continuing on. Makes sense within that bigger picture. Morgan Stanley, also a nice little bullish candle already having formed here. I was waiting for that pullback into this, so that could be it. That might be that setup over there, so we'll see. It's batting up against that ceiling. Because of those global indices have got that sideways for the last couple of weeks, they might be maybe anticipating something that's going to spook them and knock them down. That is a possibility, but overall they just seem way more healthy than they should be if they were really that vulnerable. Just noting that exhaustion on that wick on NVIDIA. So this probably wants to have a bit of a deeper correction down towards 187, which is kind of down in towards this area. But overall looking good. Bullish candles here could be a continuation. No bearish divergence, just very bullish. Netflix, there we go. There's some definite bearish divergence there. I would expect this to be heading down. So my expectation here is to see this head down towards that sort of 326 level, back down towards these highs, back down towards those lows there as well. PayPal, there's our pullback into this area. Is it going to be able to survive this and continue up? So this area is where I was looking for it to see if it could push back higher. So we've got some... What happened here? Why is it just react? Gets a bit sensitive there. Let's see if that does anything from where it is. Spotify, pulling back into this area, looking for that to continue. So they're all kind of doing their own thing. Big correction here from Spider. Let's see if it finds some stability back in this area. So these levels, price levels can still hold. Just a big correction there. So not a great week for a lot of these last week. FedEx, looking good. That could even be a potential continuation, but I would prefer to see a deeper correction. this is something here I would still really like to see this pull back into this area and continue up. That's not ideal for me. Tesla putting back down into this area to see if it can. This whole area is obviously a tough part for it because of that potential longer term downtrend. I spoke about this a bit last week. But let's see, any kind of bullish candles here and another move up. That trend technically still looks intact. The bigger picture area is still a danger zone until we get past that. As I said, 200 is a big number. So I want to see this week, see a pullback and finish ideally well above the previous high by the end of the next week. Vanguard, there we go. That would make sense to me usually as a nice little bullish setup over here. Really nice break and a retest could be a good continuation setup there. Let's have a look. 10-year bonds, yeah, they just can't get any higher here. So that I expect these to keep going down, back down towards previous lows. Eurobund as well. Might as well just continue that trend to the downside. Cryptos, interesting. So you can see how some of those equities had different kind of stories going on there. And so we're going to see how that plays out with this. Tech stocks not really looking completely settled yet, but like a couple of moves down. And then what I meant was if I looked at the Nasdaq, it was very close to support. So a little bit of a move down before possibly finding a base. And that could be something that then hits Ethereum and hits Bitcoin and hits some of these. So just going to see if they can hold. So I'll sort of kind of mark this area where we're at now and see if there's anything that ultimately from this particular inside bullish candle that becomes the base, or if we drop a little bit further. A correction to the downside a little bit further to me isn't the end of the world. Solana, it'll be the same story for all of these. I just want to see if there's anything significantly. All of these are sitting at a level here where there could be a bit of a double bottom forming here, where they could be finding some support in this area here, and therefore looking to head up from there. And we'll finish off with Binance. Also a potential bullish candle there. So a lot of these are done as a weekly correction. Not sure yet if it's a change in trend. There we go. So I'm going to leave you with that. If you have any questions, please put them into the comment section below. Let's see how this week plays out. Definitely I'll exercise some caution, but there's still some strength in the markets, but there's also some strength on that US dollar against the currency. So there's going to be some, and then some news. So just trade sensibly, see how the days play out. Sort of play it as it lies would be my expression. And I will chat to you in next week's video. Thank you.